Welcome to Let's Talk, and I'm your host, Pareishia. We are recording today from McHenry Bowl, which is a place full of unlimited family fun and games. And don't forget, you would love to have your party hosted here. Awesome place. But sitting right here with me today is the owner and the mayor of Modesto, Mayor Marsh. Glad to have you here to talk about a lot of issues that's going on, being that this is your re-election for mayor and there's certain issues that a lot of people would like you to address. So again, thank you from my TV 26, and let's get right into it, shall we? Let's talk.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. I would like to start with Measure G, if you don't mind, if that's okay. I know it's known for the Safer Neighborhoods Initiative. There were statements that were saying that it was mostly for hiring police officers and firefighters instead of really for the community itself. But it also stated about the growth of having $14 million over the 8-year course to be present for the tax if it goes forward. So I just wanted to know, what is your opinion about it?
So right now, Modesto struggles to really bring the level of service our citizens truly need, the level of safety they need, the gang resistance and trying to stop gangs and eliminate gang activity, nuisance neighborhoods or nuisance homes, homes that have been closed down and not well kept. None of those are capable of being addressed with our current level of funding. I kind of try to tell people that they have a choice. If they're happy with the way Modesto is right now, I don't see a reason to vote for Measure G. But if they want a better city, if they want a better quality of life, if they want lower crime, if they want to address the homeless issue, if any of those things, Modesto is not going to be able to do those with its current funding sources. Measure G supplies those revenues. I don't think Modesto is as good as it could be.
Okay.
And if you're happy with Modesto just the way it is, the level of crime, the level of drugs, homes that are abandoned and uncared for, vagrants in the park, if you're okay with that, vote no. But if you want a better Modesto, if you want a Modesto that addresses the problems that it has, the level of crime, being on the bottom of lists where we want to be at the top. If you want a better Modesto, you need to vote yes on Measure G.
Oh, okay, great. You heard it right here. Vote yes on Measure G. Speaking of Modesto, can we talk about the Archway Commons low-income housing and the price tag for the construction for that?
Sure. You know, that's a really good question, because that was one of the most misrepresented stories that I think has ever gone out. Archway Commons was done by a private nonprofit group called AEH, and they do low-income housing as their major thing around the state. Over in Hawaii, also some other areas. They are one of the finest low-income housing companies there is around. They not only build it, they also keep it and maintain it and manage it, and are there 30 years later, making sure that it's a quality product. The city of Modesto had about $6 million in redevelopment funds available that had to be used, and the only thing it could be used for is low-income housing. It had about $2 million of federal money that had to be used for affordable low-income housing. But the project cost about $23 million. All the rest of that money came from private funding. Okay. It was not government funding. There was some tax credits available, but essentially the city put in $8 million, and the private company and AEH put in $15 million. Secondly, thing that's really important, I believe, is the fact that that property can handle 150 new units. Okay, this built 75. But and they put in the infrastructure, the pools, the community center, all the different parts of a complex for 150 units, and we're only building 75. And the way it was reported is the cost for the land for 150 units, the plumbing for 150 units, the community center for 150 units, and all that cost was put on the first 75. Okay. So kind of when they build the next 75, it's almost going to be free.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
phase,
you know, which is not true either, right? I mean, the reality is it didn't cost $238,000 a unit. It's going to be about $140,000 or $50,000 a unit, and it's units with with solar, high energy efficiency place, 50-year roofs. It will be a place people want to live, not just today, but 50 years from now, and we didn't want, as a city government, and the federal government doesn't want, to have cheap places built that 10 years later nobody wants to live in and are a blight on our community. This took really one of the worst spots in Modesto. If you'd seen it before it started construction, it was just terrible, and now we have really a place that I think anybody would relish to live in.
Okay.
It's great apartments.
That's so you said to live in. So is there any upcoming time that people can store? I know there is a couple of tenants that are there. There are a few people that do live there. So are they going to be opening up more?
Well, there's the 75 units are fully occupied. They were fully occupied before it was finished being built, actually. They'd already rented them all. They have computer rooms for the kids after school to be able to be tutored and helped. They have a program for the children that live in the complex, and we're still working and putting together the dollars from both federal money and private money to build the other 75 units.
Okay, that sounds great to me, you know. But I do want to talk about building, changing something new. Everyone has been so familiar with MJC and how College Avenue is kind of structured. But we're having different views on the construction for the bicycle network. What do you have to say about that?
You know, I understand that change is not easy for people. But there's a lot of the story about College Avenue and the bicycling in general that really has not been fully put out to understand. First of all, the area around MJC is the highest accident rate in Modesto, the third highest accident rate in all of Stanislaus County prior to what we did. And both the neighborhoods, for the safety of their children, their students, the people that live there, and MJC both wanted us to see if there was something different we could do to make the area safer. Now this change is not complete today as we talk, which is in early October. There's still some striping to do, some little improvements in the delineation of what's been done. But the reality is the neighbors asked us to make it safer. What we have there might not seem safer to some people yet, but it will be. I mean, it really will. It'll be safer for pedestrians, safer for bicyclists, and safer for cars. The speed's going to go down by, they figure, about 3 miles an hour, which is really not a significant change in the average speed of the street. College Avenue was the least used four-lane street in all of Modesto. It had a volume of about 14,000 cars per day, and the new alignment can handle 20,000 cars a day.
Okay.
College Avenue will never have more traffic than it already had, because all the way out to the end of it has already been fully developed, fully built out. So it's not like we make this change and then 5 years from now there's a lot more cars and we have a problem. So that's another issue. Our 2006, we had a master plan that the city approved prior to me being mayor. That master plan looked at making bicycling more accessible to the whole city. You have to understand that somewhere between 20 and 25% of all the residents of Modesto don't have cars.
Yeah.
And those residents, those citizens need to also have access to get around. They use public transit, but they should be also able to use their cars. And their bicycles. Mm-hmm. So really looking at making biking more accessible, and it's not casual biking like Virginia Corridor. It's people that can ride along at 15, 20 miles an hour, yeah, and commute to school, commute to work. We want a bicycle network throughout the city that's safer for kids to go to their elementary school now, yeah, where most people drive their kids to school, mm-hmm, if they're more than a block or two away. And we want a safe network for kids to bike to school. It's going to be a change. It is, and as I said before, change is hard for people. There's one more statistic. I know a lot of people don't like statistics, but we had 3 or 4 neighborhood meetings with all the people in the neighborhoods, notified that we were going to possibly make this change. Mm-hmm. 3 out of 4 people of the neighborhood said do it.
Okay.
9 out of 10 people that lived on College Avenue said do it. I mean, it's a need for this. There's people that don't like it. I get it, but they are not the norm in the city. They're the ones that really got involved, looked at it, looked at the result, and what will happen when you get used to it. Mm-hmm. It's going to work well.
Okay, that sounds good. Speaking of change, I want to go on a little bit of downtown Modesto and the courthouse and developing there. So how does that change affect anything?
There was a big controversy about where the courthouse was going to be located, how the city was involved in doing it, mm-hmm, that we were giving money away. The reality is we had one significant piece of property in that whole block where the courthouse is going to be located. The city did not choose where the courthouse was going to go.
Okay.
The courts decided where they wanted to build their new courthouse. And there were originally 7 or 8 different locations. They narrowed it to 2, one being the 10th and H Street that has now been picked, and the other was the 14th and H that the B site is. It's going to be about an 8-story building. We don't have the final design yet, but it's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10 stories high. That would not fit in the B's current location. It did not fit our CEQA. CEQA is California Environmental Quality Act, and we've done CEQA for downtown, looking at bigger buildings along 10th Street, mm-hmm, and narrowing down to shorter buildings as you went away from 10th. And the B site could have handled 3 or 4 stories without going through a whole new CEQA. So the site at 10th and H was ready to go. The courts picked that. Now, we not only had already provided the land that we had there to the redevelopment agency for free. We'd given it away to them for free. They gave it back for this development, and the state paid us over $500,000 for that land. Okay. Now, part of it is we agreed that we'd take utilities out, we'd take care of the tenants and have them moved out and taken care of. But as part of that also, we've been collecting the rents and keeping those rents for the last year. So all in all, the city's going to end up with around $300,000, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, that we're going to keep in downtown and use for downtown economic development.
Great.
So we took a piece of property that we had originally given away for free, encouraged development, and now we're going to end up with $300,000 or $400,000. We're going to end up with a big, pretty new building that's going to really, I think, encourage development all around it and be a catalyst for a better downtown.
That's nice. You would think that's a great thing to be involved in, which goes great with Salida. I would like to speak about Salida. There's some nays and there's some pros and cons who want to, merge a little bit with that. So this will actually be good for them.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Salida, because a lot of people think and still believe today that I wanted to annex Salida. That's never, ever what I publicly put out there. Back in 1995, 20 years, almost 18 years before I became mayor of Modesto, all of Salida and all the area around it was put inside Modesto's general plan. Modesto's plan to take it over and develop it. Okay, just clear, that was the plan approved back in 1995. Part of that is the whole cost structure for anybody building on Yosemite Avenue or downtown or McHenry or Oakdale Road has to pay part of putting all those roads into Salida area. And what I wanted to do is, if Salida wanted to be part of Modesto, I'm ready to do it. If they don't want to be part of Modesto, I'm ready to take them out and lower the fees for all our businesses here in Modesto that don't have to build those roads now. And I heard loud and clear from the people of Salida, they don't want to be part of Modesto. I voted to take them out. I actually lost that vote on a 4-3 vote, but I am still not wanting to take over the community of Salida. It is clear they don't want to be part of Modesto, and I'm clearly going to say I'm not going to try to bring them in.
Okay.
If in the future they want to come in, they can come knock on our doors. We're not going to knock on theirs.
We fix laptops. Your first place to stop for all your computer repairs. We offer quick, dependable, convenient, affordable repair. We fix laptops. Call now. We are located at 945 Coffee Road in Modesto, California. We make it easy and convenient. We offer on-site pickup in surrounding areas in Modesto. PC and Apple repairs. We fix them all. Virus removal, LCD broken, power jack repair, and much more. Remember, we fix laptops. Call now, 209-248-7483. All right, welcome back to Let's Talk. We've been having a great conversation here with Mayor Marsh. I want to add on something. We spoke about the good things that's going to be happening in Modesto, the new changes. Everything is looking good. Even a little bit about those not wanting to join in with what Modesto's doing, but Modesto's growing. What about Wood Colony, with the developing of the farmland?
Yeah, Wood Colony, again, I believe is an area that didn't get properly covered or understood how the process, and it's a difficult process, and there's not a really good vehicle to explain to the average person what happens and how it happens. So the city, knowing that in the next 40 years we're going to double in population. We're going to double in population whether you want it or not. One of the things, people are still having babies, and we're not dying as quickly as we used to. And because of that, California is adding about 300,000 people every year. That means part of those are going to live in Modesto and in the Bay Area and in LA. And the state knows that it's going to grow, and we're going to grow at the rate that somewhere in the next 40 or 50 years, Modesto is going to be twice as big as it is today. Now, if you take that as your base, we, within what we call our sphere of influence, what we've been approved to build out to, we have enough room to do that for people and where they live. What we don't have is enough room to put the jobs that go with that. There's not any industrial space. Beard Industrial, if you look at an aerial view, is almost fully built out. There's almost no room left there. And the last little parts, if you look on an aerial map, that are left are actually in production right now to be built on. So just think that we're not going to have any more industrial jobs. We have a room for some more business park and business park type jobs, and we can build up downtown and put more office jobs in. still can't have enough jobs for 200,000 more people. So unless you want more and more people commuting to the Bay Area, commuting to even down to Merced and up to Stockton, we need to find a place to put jobs. It's a difficult, it's difficult to figure out where to do that. Now, what happened on Wood Colony? There's two things. First of all, back in 1995 again, when they did the general plan, they included 1,000 acres of Wood Colony in that plan. Okay, so that was already on the books.
Okay.
Before I became mayor, before I became a council member, that was on the books. And there'd never been any discussion to take it out. Okay, so let's just start there. Then, looking at where are we going to put more jobs, the Chamber of Commerce and some major developers and development influences started looking at a plan of where do we put land for more jobs. And they came to the city and basically suggested that we add about, I don't know, 5,000 or 7,000 acres. I mean, a lot. All the way out to where Hammett Road would extend down to Mays. Our city staff looked at it and said, that's way too big. It's way bigger than you'll ever need in the next 200 years. So our staff, again, never having reached the city council or the mayor, our staff reduced that down to adding about another 1,000 acres to Wood Colony into the city.
Okay.
That's what came to the council for the first time as a city council to vote on. Now, the Planning Commission had already voted on it and suggested that that was a good idea. So it came to the city council. The residents of Wood Colony were not happy about it. It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
They felt that they were being railroaded, run over, their life taken away from them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, the city council heard. We took that 1,000 acres that the city staff suggested that we put in, that the Chamber of Commerce suggested that we put in. We took all that out. Not only that, we took out almost all that had been put back in 1995. The only part that we left was about 200 acres right along the freeway, right across from the mall.
Okay.
And all the property owners in that 200 acres were not against being part of the city sometime in the next 40 years.
Oh.
So the general plan's a 40-year plan. It's not tomorrow, it's not next year. There are still people that lived by there that felt that that was wrong and a bad idea. And because of that, you really have Measure I on the ballot right now.
Yeah, I see. That's very important. And I know there's other people that want to take the spot of being a mayor, and they're thinking that they can do a better job of it, of
Right.
what you're doing.
Right.
But from what we're hearing, you are making plans of growing Modesto.
I want to bring jobs here. Where the two most important things that we need to solve here in our city that are within the control of city government. An example of what's not in our control is education. We need to improve the level of education, the quality of our residents to do the jobs that are needed here. But the city, that's not part of our structure. It's not the way the government of California is set up. So within what we can do, the two big things are make our city safer. And I'm a proponent, I'm in favor of Measure G to put 80 more cops on the street. To reduce our crime by almost 50% is our target, to get us to the national level instead of being at one of the worst.
Yeah.
So that's one half. And the other half, and it goes hand in hand,
Yeah.
is to improve our economy, to bring jobs here. And we're really starting to do that. The area around Kaiser is going to have a new children's hospital right across the street. It's going to have a continuum of care Alzheimer's unit that's going to be put in. It's back behind Kaiser. There's a group that is planning a rehabilitation hospital and facility. All that's going in. We have a lot of medical in Modesto. Modesto is the medical magnet for the entire area, all the way from Nobody comes close to us. From Stockton to Fresno, we are the medical center of our area of California. And we're going to be able to provide high quality nursing jobs, doctors, everything else. But we need to even grow that and make it bigger. We need to attract businesses that are struggling to stay affordable in the Bay Area and bring them over to Modesto.
Right.
When we have a high crime rate, they're resistant to come here.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if we can solve the crime issue, I think we even improve our job issue. I think we really get to the point that some of those companies that are being priced out of the Bay Area look at Modesto as the right place to go.
Yeah.
Close to the Bay Area, 2 hours away by if they have products that need to be taken and used by the high tech, they can come here. We need to attract high-tech ag jobs. Ag is not just going out and plowing the field anymore. The quality and the use of technology in ag, that needs to be centered here. We need to improve on those type of jobs also. So we're working that, but I really believe that having Measure G pass, having those dollars that will then be able to provide safer neighborhoods, a stronger community, building the strength of our neighborhoods. I think those two go hand in hand to give you, number one, a safer community, but also an attractive community for new business and new jobs.
Every journey begins with a single step. Are you ready to take yours? Here at Modesto Junior College, we can help you begin. The college offers a variety of programs and opportunities, including financial aid. MJC students can transfer to four-year colleges after graduating. Our instructors will prepare you for a successful future in the field of your choice. If you want a quality, affordable education with unlimited horizons, make Modesto Junior College your first step.
True fitness! True results. I'm here at True Fitness. We're a personal training studio only. We specialize in diet, strength conditioning, and we also offer MMA cardio kick classes, and we also diet programs as well by themselves. A lot of people enjoy coming here because we are very isolated. We don't have a lot of the gym atmosphere. It's very one-on-one personal training. Everyone likes the idea of working with their trainer. If you hit us up and mention that you've seen our commercial on TV26, you get a free training session. It is True Fitness!
All right, before we let you go, I understand there was a meeting speaking about feeding for the homeless, ordinance of feeding for the homeless. Am I correct? I got that right?
We had one last night, actually.
All right.
Yeah, it was a workshop. I mean, we weren't actually we were in the process of developing concepts. You know, there are a lot of really giving, caring people in Modesto. It's a caring community. We have a community that really, I think, is strong. It's strong because of our faith. It's strong because of our families. And yet there's people that fall outside of those and become homeless or less capable of taking care of themselves. And our faith-based mostly, but also other nonprofits, really desire to help. I mean, and as a Christian myself, I really believe that part of our job is to provide for those that are lesser. That, you know, the Lord basically said that love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And so I understand people's desire and need to help, and our community does it also. However, there are some people that do it very well and do it very caring, and they go in and provide food and do food distributions in neighborhoods that are more need, and some go to the homeless also. But there are some that are not responsible, and they come in and they throw the food out of the car and they drive away, and there's garbage left all over. The parks and areas where they've done feeding in are hurt by what they're doing. So even though they desire to help, they're actually being detrimental to our community and the neighborhoods that they go to. in my mind, so we're still in development process here. In my mind, what we end up with is a permitting process where people that want to do food distribution are responsible for the condition of where they've provided food after it's over. They need to clean up or have their recipients clean up the area, police it, get it ready, and when they leave, it should be as good or better than when they arrived. And that's our goal. I will actually not support charging to get the permit. So this is not about money. This is about a good process, about good people helping people in need. And those people that are trying to do good, but the way they do it is detrimental, I want to redirect them into a better process. And that's really what came out of the meeting. I thought the meeting was quite productive. Many of those ministries that go down into areas to try to have and help people change their way to become better people. Many of those ministries and nonprofits that do that were very supportive last night. They understood that we're not trying to punish those that are trying to help people. We're trying to make it a better process, and one that's more productive both for the homeless and for the neighbors.
Yeah, that is great. That's a great way to end our note on here. You have been watching MyTV 26. This is Let's Talk with Mayor Marsh of Modesto. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.